The call came while I was standing in front of Blood Oranges. A woman brushed past me, her sleeve grazing my wrist. Familiar. The way grief tricks you, teaches you to see ghosts in crowds. I looked up anyway. She turned. My wife's face looked back at me from another life. Not younger. Not older. Just intact. The same scar near the left eyebrow she got opening a champagne bottle too fast. The same controlled mouth. The same eyes that learned how to lie without blinking. 5 months ago, I stood over a closed casket and nodded while strangers told me how sorry they were. I followed her without thinking. Distance measured in heartbeats. A turn. A pause. She bought rosemary like she always did, testing the needles between her fingers. My phone buzzed. IFYU, WANTT, OJOIN, THAN, KSGIV, INGCOME, WASHTHE, DISHES. My daughter-in-law barked through the speaker, loud enough to pull me out of the market's noise. I watched my dead wife count her change. "Enjoy," I said, and ended the call. The woman, my wife, left the market and walked toward a row of narrow townhouses. I memorized her gait. The slight drag in the right foot. The habit of checking reflections in glass. I didn't feel panic or relief. Just a cold recalibration. When she unlocked the third door from the corner, I finally breathed. The dead don't fumble with keys. Officially, my wife drowned. A boating accident. The police were gentle. Efficient. The kind of kindness that seals conclusions. I accepted it because acceptance is cheaper than curiosity. But standing outside that townhouse, I understood something essential. Grief had been a performance. Mine. Hers. Everyone else's. I waited across the street, counting cars. A man arrived. Younger. Well-fed confidence. He kissed her cheek, the way people do when the lie is already settled between them. Not passion. Ownership. I felt the shape of the betrayal take form, clean and geometric. Not infidelity alone that would have been boring. This was architecture. Planning. A double life with load-bearing walls. My wife had not died. She had exited. The realization didn't scream. It whispered instructions. I went home and opened the safe. Inside were documents she never knew. I kept copies of insurance policies, offshore accounts, the shell company I used to park consulting fees. The money I moved quietly after my first marriage taught me how loudly love can steal. My phone lit up again. Missed calls. Messages. My daughter-in-law's tone sharpened as the evening went on. She had always measured me in utility. Wash dishes. Bring wine. Sit at the children's table of conversation. I smiled at the screen and sent nothing. The woman I'd married understood greed differently. She didn't demand. She orchestrated, and I had mistaken her patience for loyalty. I didn't confront. I audited. I watched from cafes and parked cars. I learned her schedule. The man's name, Evan. The mailbox label. The trash nights. I photographed nothing. Memory is harder to trace. At night, I reviewed phone records I'd never deleted. Old patterns emerged when you let them breathe. Calls that stopped months before the accident. A burner number. A lawyer in Zurich. Switzerland. I felt almost proud of her. The elegance of it. Fake death. Clean exit. A man who didn't know he was a placeholder. Then I tested the perimeter. I posted a single image to a private family group chat, the terrace of my Swiss villa, Lake Lucerne, a sheet of polished steel behind it. No caption. My phone vibrated like a trapped insect. 71 calls. From the same number. My daughter-in-law. Voicemails piled up, shifting from contempt to panic in real time. Apologies bloomed like mold. She talked about family, respect, love. She talked about money without using the word. I didn't answer. Instead, I booked a flight. In Zurich, I met with a lawyer whose name kept appearing like a watermark in my wife's past. He recognized me immediately. Recognition is a confession that arrives early. He tried to speak. I raised a finger. "Show me," I said. The documents were immaculate. New identity. Trusts redirected. A death certificate that would have passed in most jurisdictions. She hadn't just left me. She had tried to erase me. I returned and waited for the right silence. It arrived on a gray afternoon when she stepped outside with a bag of groceries. I stood at the end of the walkway, not hiding, not approaching. She saw me. Her face did the arithmetic fast and wrong. Shock first. Then relief because seeing me meant she could negotiate. Then fear when she realized I wasn't reaching for anything. We stood there, two people who had once shared a bed, now separated by intent. I held out a folder. She didn't touch it. Inside were copies. Not the originals. Enough to prove, not enough to recover. The kind of evidence that says, I can ruin you or I can ignore you. Your move doesn't exist anymore. I know, I said. She opened her mouth, closed it. Tears arrived late and uninvited. I felt nothing move inside me. No rage. No mercy. Only alignment. I never raised my voice. I told her what I had already done. Accounts frozen. Trusts collapsed into themselves. The Swiss villa placed into a holding company she could never access. I told her Evan would learn the truth through channels she couldn't intercept. Not from me. From banks that stop smiling when numbers vanish. I told her the death certificate would be audited by people who don't accept apologies. She reached for me. I stepped back. At home, I returned one call. My daughter-in-law answered on the first ring, breathless. I let her talk until she ran out of ways to disguise hunger. Then I sent her a photo, another angle of the villa, this one interior. Clean lines. Cold light. Thanksgiving? She whispered. I won't be there, I said. Wash the dishes. And I ended the call. People think revenge is loud. It isn't. It's administrative. I didn't attend funerals or courtrooms. I didn't watch lives collapse. I walked away while the structure failed behind me. Sometimes I pass that market. I buy blood oranges. I don't look for ghosts anymore. Grief taught me what love couldn't, how to let go without leaving fingerprints. My phone is quiet now. So am I.